I mean, how the hell did you come across open up a pizzeria?
My father started with a bakery back in the early 90s, and he did a cheesecake bakery. Kind of had a competition with my mother, who was going to sell the best cheesecake, and they had friends come over. They chose my father's, and they said, "This is great. Would you make one for us?" And they told someone else, "Would you make one for us?" And kind of fell into a cheesecake business, started there. And that was in the early 90s, and we all kind of worked there. I have an older brother and a younger sister. We all kind of, when we could, we worked together. My brother was kind of his full-time job, and we would help on the holidays. And then he kind of flipped that into, he started making pizza and bread while he was working with my father. And then from there, just refined his recipes more and more. And then he opened a spot in Herkimer, Tucker's Italian Kitchen. And then from there, he went to Frankfurt and opened more of like a casual dining spot.
Okay.
That was the Purple Cow.
Oh, okay.
So the Purple Cow, an older friend of my father told my brother, for you to be successful in pizzeria, with a pizzeria in Herkimer, you're going to need a Purple Cow. And so kind of as a joke, my brother put a Purple Cow on the sign, "Welcome to Tucker's Italian Kitchen," with a little Purple Cow on the sign. And then when he opened the next spot in Frankfurt, that's when he called it the Purple Cow, and that's when the Purple Cow wings came out and
awesome.
kind of caught fire. Yeah, so that's what happened there. So then I went to college, came back from college, lived in Colorado. My brother said, I was working at Crocs in Colorado, and I hated it. You know, I just was going every day. I was like, is this really what I'm going to do? I'm not interested in this. And he said, if you come home now, I'll pay you what you're making there. And I was like, as awesome as it is in Boulder, it's like, he was like, you could come home, I'll teach you to make pizza, and that's something you could have forever. And I was like, I don't know that that's what I want to do. It's like, I eat pizza every day.
Yeah.
I come from a food family where they show their love with food, but I don't know that I want to do that. I agreed. I came home. He taught me how to make pizza as best as he could and kind of just threw me in there. He said, this is how you make the dough. This is how you do the sauce. You fold the boxes. You grind the cheese. So I had to learn every little intricacy of how to do it. It's like, if I fucked up the dough, it was me that had to make pizza with that dough. And it's like, in the beginning, like, he had his recipe, everything dialed in. It's like this much water on the bucket. You need to check the barometric pressure of the day. And it's like, I'm 23. It's like, I didn't listen to any of that. Because my brother is 10 years older than me, we kind of have a thing where it's like, I never felt like I had an older brother because we were so far separated. So I felt like the older brother myself. So for him, when he would be telling me stuff to do, I kind of was confrontational, like, is this really the way it goes? So I had to learn everything myself. So from there, then we went and opened another. I kind of hurt his pizza business at the time because I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know how to make hand-tossed pizza. I didn't understand everything. So then when we opened the next business, which was more of a fine dining restaurant, my brother is just the man when it comes to food. All his brainchild is what we took to the next place. And at that place, I was like, I want to work out front. Because I'd be in the back making pizza, sweating, dying, and my buddy who was a waiter out front, he would come back like, I just made $50. And I'm like, it takes me 3 hours to earn that. You got 50. He's an idiot, And so, so kind of I went with that. And then when we went to the next restaurant, which is a fine dining restaurant, I said, I'm going to work out front. I don't want to make pizza anymore. I want to be out front. He said, fine, you manage the front. I'll do the back. So then I learned that. Wasn't happy with after a few years, it's like, I don't see a long-term future for myself. It's like, I'm a waiter. I don't have, my friends have 401k or investments, stuff like that. And it's like, I felt good about helping my family and doing a family business, but I was like worried, like, what am I going to do for the future? So then I ended up moving across the country to California. And then when I came back, my brother had closed that restaurant and then opened in Utica. He found the spot. I remember going there, looking at that spot, and he was like, I think this is going to work. And I said, I really think it is, because the food has always been good. It's just getting people to come through the door and all the other parts of the business. Like, you could have great food, but everything else really matters tons. So then he came to Utica, and he opened in November 2013, and I waited the first 2 months to not go work in that chaos. I said, I know that this isn't the time for me, but when when things have ironed out a little bit, it's a little bit smoother, then he made me an offer, and I said, all right, I'll come. I came, and I was his oven guy. He has 2 kids, so on Monday and Tuesday, he had his kids, so I would go in and make pizza on those days, and the other days, I would just stand right next to him as his oven guy. I didn't realize it at the time, but he was training me on every single thing, repeating himself nonstop on every single thing, which I'm seeing it and learning it and listening to him. So that happened, and I, slowly became a better and better pizza maker, understood what was going on, and then he found his next calling, which happened to be at the time was plant medicine. He was down in South America. He was ayahuasca,
Yeah.
ibogaine, all that stuff. He got into that, and so that was really his focus. He kind of left me as a manager at the pizzeria, and so I did that for a while, where I was just making pizza and making sure that everything's all right, trying to work on the scheduling and stuff like that. And then I remember one day when I was his oven guy, I was thinking, what am I going to do? You know, this is what he does. This is successful. This is what he does, but I don't see a path for me here. What do I do? Should I open my own pizzeria? And then it was like, you know what? I've been in this industry for this long. Basically if you spend 7 years in an industry, you have a master's degree in that industry, you know? So I was like, I want to have my own pizzeria. And at that time he was, you know, on a different quest and he was prepared to walk away. And I said, all right, now it's my turn to see what I have. So I continued making pizza, and really what I was doing the whole time was trying to build a team environment, because that's what was so important. It's like, you don't want, you know, I felt like a team manager. It's like, you know, Bill Belichick is great, but you need those players. If you don't have those players out there, then how good are you? You know, so then he left 2018 and I took over. And then 2019, I had full year of business, trying to figure it out. I pulled myself back a little bit from pizza making, because if I'm standing there making pizza, I don't have the time to do the other things to grow the business and learn everything else. If I'm standing there 11 hours a day making purple cow slices, I don't have the time to learn everything else. So I recruited people and had people working with me that I felt comfortable with leaving it to them. Everyone that I have making pizza thinks they're the best, which is what you want. It's like, my brother thought he was the best. I think I'm the best. The guy that I trained, he thinks he's the best. They all think they're the best, which is what you want for a pizza maker. We still all stick to our, like, so Slice's dough weighs this much. This is the process for our dough. This is the cheese we use. So even if they come in and they're making sliced pizza, but their way, you know, I don't want people to say, who's making the pizza today? It's like, it should be the same all the time.
Yeah.
So then once that happened, I pulled myself back, and we were able to see, it's like, all right, this is what we do. This is how we're successful. These are the things we sell. Let's sell those things. Let's go after that. Let's figure out how to do that. And at that time in 2018, we didn't deliver, which was tough. Like, as a pizzeria, to not deliver, people were calling up nonstop. Like, can we get a delivery? Like, no, you can't. We could only handle, you know,
That's awesome.
If you add that extra onto that, it's like that will reduce the quality of everything else, you know? So it's like we tried not to let that happen and kind of went from there. So then when I think it was 2019, DoorDash was just putting everyone on automatically.
Oh my God.
It was awful.
I hated that.
It was awful. So they would call up with their order. They would place their order. Then it would go out. And so for the first 2 months happened. So I think that was November and December. And then they called me in the beginning of January, and they're like, if you want to, this is how much you did in the past 2 months. And if you want to stick with us, then you have to sign this agreement. It'll be 30%. And I was like, I can't, 30%. It's like,
Yeah. It's crazy.
Where's my percent? If I give you 30, then I don't have any. So kind of at that point, I was like, maybe I could jack up the prices a little bit and figure it out from there. That was 2019 going into 2020. So it was January 2020. And I was like, all right, let me get on DoorDash. Let me push that and see if that works. And then COVID happened. So COVID happened and DoorDash spiked. And there was only one other pizzeria before me on DoorDash. So we were flooded with orders. Yeah.
Wow.
And then figured it out from there.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hated that time. I was working with a coffee shop in town when that happened, and the coffee shop had like 6 locations, and they put all 6 of them on DoorDash. And it's like, dude, we don't do that. Like, you know, not only that, but then some of them were just like wrong menus. It was like people would come in for like a macchiato, and it's like, that's a Starbucks thing. That's not a Cafe Cubal thing. And the process to try to get them to remove your location, like, you had to jump through so many hoops. You had to send in like certified. It was insane. I hated that.
Yeah, they made it impossible.
Yeah.
They made it impossible. And it was like, how am I going to go forward with this? So at the time, COVID had just started, and what I did was I put my referral code up there. So I said, if you place your order, you'll get $10 off your next order, blah, blah, blah. There was like so I put my referral link, and I ended up getting like $500 in free DoorDash because I was a DoorDash customer too. So I was like, all right, free DoorDash. Let me educate the customer. At that time, it was before DoorDash. It wasn't big at that time. So I had all the customers go sign up for this. This is how you order from us. This is how you get delivery. This is what you do. So So I converted, so from no delivery to, all right, now this is a large portion of our business. And then shortly after was Grubhub and Uber Eats. And then after that, a little bit later after that, Slice came out and they reached out and they charge per order
Yeah.
rather than a commission. So then I re-educated the customer. No, this is where you need to order now. Go order on Slice. And yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So you guys don't have your own drivers?
We don't have our own drivers. You can't compete with one driver per one order that you can track from start to finish. Right. We had drivers. We had tried delivery earlier on, but it just didn't work. It was like if they forget something, if they're going to the north end of town, then they got to go to the south end, come back. It's like you can't compete with one driver for one order that you could track from start to finish. It's just that's the best way to go.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and it's still cheaper, than insurance and all that, all these things.
For sure.
Especially nowadays.
One of the things that they do that allows us to, now we deliver with Slice. So I want all my customers to order from Slice. That's the best way. I'm able to refund and handle everything. We have built-in customer service if you call with them. So I try and make everyone, go down that path.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So was there any family history before your parents of the restaurant industry?
My grandmother was Italian.
Yeah.
So it's Sundays were there, and that's how she showed she loved you. It was like she cooked for you and like everything, and it's like, so that's where it came from. She put that into my father, and my father put that in my brother, and my mother's the same way. It's like, it's an act of love in our family. It's like, that's how you're showing that you love each other. Look, I made you toast with jelly.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Yeah, that's wild.
Yep.
I mean, we were out there in the summer, and we went out there I think it was the summer, specifically following Portnoy, going out to your space and Oskanitz. I'd never even heard. I think it was following Slice on Instagram prior to that, but Oskanitz I'd never heard of before in my life, and the Portnoy trip to Syracuse was like. We kind of heard because, everybody in Syracuse follows Adam Weitzman and, is like obsessed with it. And Adam's a great dude. I've had him on the podcast before. I was just at his new restaurant he opened in Skaneateles.
I saw that. Yeah, that's good.
And so, I'm friends. Paul Valenti, who owns a donut shop here in town, Glazed and Confused. He's tight and friends with Adam. And so... Paul had been saying Adam's going to bring Portnoy to Syracuse at some point, but nobody knew what day. And we always thought it was going to be around one of the big SU games, not just on a random, summer day. And then I'm tight with Nick Sanford from Toss and Fire. And so Nick at Toss and Fire has a picture of him on the back in his kitchen. He's like, if this guy ever comes in, this is how you make his pizza.
Yeah.
And Nick's from New Haven. From that area. So he's like, I know exactly how the pizza's supposed to be cooked. This is how you're going to do it in our oven. So anyway, I forget who I heard from. Somebody was like, Portnoy's in town. I started just following him around. I was driving everywhere I thought he was going to go, texting people. Was he here? Was he there?
Yep.
I was texting other pizzeria owners in town like, hey, heads up. Dave's in town. Get your shit together. So I caught up with him at the one. And then I was just everybody's like, what score did he give him? What score did he give him? He shit all over Syracuse.
That was rough.
Syracuse got some of the worst scores.
Yeah, that was rough.
He went to the worst Twin Trees. Not that I think he would have given the original Twin Trees a good score, but he went to the worst Twin Trees and got a rectangle slice. They're known for the strip pizza.
Right.
So, they fucked that up. He shit, which I love a pizza, just down the street. They're on the card. Paulie's a great guy, but he shit all over a Pizza Regionale because
that was rough.
He's Pete's. It's from fucking New Haven,
right?
I
saw that. That was rough.
He didn't really give any. I think he gave Francesca's maybe the best score for a pizza, and in Syracuse. And then somebody was like, "Yeah, he's going out to Utica." To nobody in Syracuse knew, unless you're from Utica.
Right.
Nobody knows that that's Oskanitz. Everybody's like, Squeaky something.
Sure.
It's like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Right.
And then he goes out to Utica and gives you way better score than anybody in Syracuse, and then Oskanitz,
Yeah.
So, I mean, I've seen the video, but what's that like? What's that do for you as a pizzeria owner to have?
Nuts. I mean, people would ask me all the time because if we're our favorite, they're like, if he comes here, you're going to do great. And it was like, he's not coming here. Why would he come here? He's not coming here. I knew that one of my buddies was working at Oskanitz for 20 years, and he was messaging him all the time, hey, you need to come. We've been open 100 years. And people would ask me, and I would like, he's not coming. He's not going to come. So then that summer day, shout out to Angelo, Angelo's Pies. I don't know if you follow him on Instagram. He makes awesome pies just for himself. But Picture Perfect, he called me.
Oh, I do follow him.
Angelo, yeah, he had come into the pizzeria before one day when I was making pizza, and I had like something for the guys, just like a test kitchen. He was like, let me get a slice of that. And I was like, this isn't for sale. He's like, I want a slice of that. I was like, well, here you go. And then we became quick friends. He loved the pizza. So he was like, this is the best pizza. This is what Angelo said. He's like, this is my favorite pizza. This is great. You need to, try and find Portnoy. I'm like, So then he called me. He's like, Portnoy's in Syracuse. He's like, you need to start spamming him. Tell him to come to you. You got the best slice. And I'm like, I'm not going to message him. He's not coming here. And then one of my buddies who was working at the restaurant at the time on the oven called me and was like, Portnoy just ordered. And I'm like, no, he didn't. He's like, no, he did. And I had just got home. I had a daughter at the time. I think she was, 2 months old. And my girl was like, what's going on? I'm like, Portnoy just ordered a pizza. So I told my guy, I was like, make it crispy. He likes it crispy, so just make it crispy. Because I kind of live across town. And my girl was like, you need to go there.
Yeah.
So flew there right away. And I was like, is it really? I was like, I don't know if it is. And they're like, no, it is. So the guy that I had making pizza, he was like, you need to make it. He was like, I don't want to be on the hook for this. You need to make it, So I stretch the dough, I make it, and it comes out. And I'm like, it doesn't look, this isn't right. He's not here yet. And the pizza maker that I had at the time, he made another. I was like, let's both make one. And I was like, yours looks better. Your pizza looks better. Let's go with that one. And he walked in, and I was torn because it's like, you know what he likes. You've seen the videos. Right. He likes it burned. He likes what he likes. Yeah. I mean, is he the end all be all? Does he understand pizza? Yeah. No, I don't think so. But he's the #1 food critic in the world. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So it was like, do I make it the way he wants it and burn it? Or do I stay true to how we do it and make it like that? So we made it how we make it. He came, and it was like, I was swearing up a storm on the review. I was like, holy fucking shit, it's Dave. Because you just don't think that that's going to happen. Yeah. And he came, he was super down to earth, super cool guy. Gave him a chocolate chip cookie, a whole bunch of other food. Because it's like, this is my one chance with this guy. It's like, I've said to people before, it's like, you're shooting at the park and LeBron comes up and is like, oh, your jump shot looks good today, So it's like, this is our one chance. So he took it and ended up being a 7-7. Like, our best product is a slice. Yeah. And how we make those and the process that goes through is tailored to we're Slice. Right. That has to be the best product. And he ordered a large New York. So, I mean, I'm not going to be like, you don't know what you're talking about. Here, have this. Yeah. Apparently you can do that. I've seen other owners that are like, no, this is what you're going to have. But I kind of just went with it, gave him that, and he ended up giving us a rock star score. So 7-7 is, I mean, you want to be in the 8s. Yeah. And in my heart, we're in the 8s if you come and get a plain slice. But take the 7-7 being the highest score of the day outside of Oskanitz. I mean, Oskanitz has been open 100 and however many years. It's like they're a king. Even to be mentioned with them is awesome. Yeah. So, yeah.
I went to Oskanitz, and I like it for sure. It's like, I described it as this wouldn't be like my Sunday. Like if somebody's like, hey, come over and let's watch the game. Let's get a pizza. Where should we go? I'm not probably going to say Oskanitz. I love it. I thought it was great. Yeah. I love the sliced mozzarella and the stretch you get from that when you're biting pizza. Yeah. I do like the upside down, but it's not like a Friday night pie to me. Yeah. But the history of it is just incredible that's the second oldest pizzeria in America. Yeah. I'm assuming they've been open because I went down to New York City last week and we were there all day, and I did just like an impromptu little pizza tour myself. So we went to Lombardi's, and that's the oldest, but they were shut down for a number of years, right? And then reopened with like a non-family member. I mean, friend of the family, but still. And then we went to DeFara's. And that was good, but I should have got a pie. I got a slice. It wasn't, the slice had been there. I was there at like 2 p.m, so I should have known better. Yeah. Have you ever been there before?
I've never been there. No.
DeFara's, their menu is a paper circular plate that's taped to the glass.
I love that.
And it has a rectangle, $5, $6, whatever it is, a triangle, a rectangle for their square slice with like $6, and then a circle, $32.
That's awesome.
That's their menu.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And so we went there, and that was cool to be in there. And like, it's cool. It was like they follow me on Instagram, and like I was messaging the daughter,
It's crazy. Yeah.
And then we went from there. We went down to Park Slope and went to Luigi's, and that was cool. Like you walk in, Gio's sitting there on his phone. You feel like you're in a fucking movie.
Yeah.
Just sitting because nothing's changed there since
Yeah.
the '70s, and that was my favorite slice of the day without
Yeah.
question. But so Lombardi's was the first, right? The OG, first ever established pizzeria in the country. And then I know that, Totono's in Coney Island was like branched out from them, but obviously Oscanitz must have opened before them, which just, it's wild to me to think that like, how the fuck did a second pizzeria open up in Utica before it opened up in New York City?
Right,
You
yeah.
know? But yeah, I mean, it is really cool to like go in there and be a part of the history.
Yeah.
Just by like walking in the place and trying their food.
Yeah, I used to go there as a little kid with my father. We would go there, and then there's another place in Herkimer called Yeti's, and I think they're somehow born from the same family where it's upside down pizza and they put the sausage underneath like that. So I remember going as a child. It's like my father would be like, "You want to go to Oscuzzi's?" And I would be like, "Yes." They had the Pac-Man machine in there, the claw machine, and it was like, it was a trip to go there. It was a joy.
Yeah. All right. So talk to me about. I want to learn more about like pizza and all that kind of stuff from you. But talk to me about Utica.
Yeah.
I mean, Utica's a wild fucking place, man.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, there's some similarities with Syracuse. As I'm driving on the streets, it's like, oh yeah, you can see how they would be related, like siblings or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's the pizza culture is rich there. It's like people take their food very seriously in Utica. You know, it's like I got into disagree. Online's tough because when you're putting your heart out there and say you have 100 to 200 customers a day and you have 2 that are mad, that you're still at 98% success. But if those 2 people go and leave a review, it's like, and you're putting your heart and soul into this place. You're trying your best at everything you're doing, and then it messes up. So it's tough. So a lot of food critics in Utica, and they're on you about stuff, but it keeps you sharp. I wouldn't want to be anywhere else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the big? Is there like a big platform out there where it's like I'm assuming maybe the local newspaper or anything like that?
My brother started when he first opened Slice. It was like I remember him coming in, talking with me and my sister, and we're like, "You need to make a Facebook page."
Yeah.
And this is 2013, so it was still in its infancy. Business Facebook pages were still in their infancy, but the more like he would take pictures, and the more pictures he posted, the following grew and grew and grew, and that was kind of where we reached out to people. You know? So that's where we got that. That's where we the buzz started, and then Facebook helped it push it a little bit further.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Syracuse, we've got the Post Standard, and if they come out and write about your restaurant, you'll be busy for a week or two. And then they have a Facebook group called Where Syracuse Eats, which has got like 75,000, 80,000 members, which is great, but it's like a cesspool of, it's like when you think of like the worst case scenario of like the dumbest people in the world complaining about the war, the most ludicrous fucking thing, or the dumbest people in the world saying the shittiest food is the best thing they've ever had before.
I know.
That's Where Syracuse Eats.
Sucks.
And it's, the negative stuff doesn't really hurt that much. I know a couple restaurants who have gotten just absolutely roasted on there. I'm talking like 300 comments, people just saying they suck, never go there. And then the restaurant's the busiest it's ever been the next week, So it's not like it can really make or break your restaurant. But if you're mentioned in there a lot, you can get really busy for sure.
Yeah.
But there isn't like a Where Utica Eats Facebook page or anything.
No, there's a couple different Facebook pages. There's a Utica restaurant review where people will go and post the review. And then there's another one, 315 menus, where that started at the beginning of COVID, where you could go and post your daily specials where you're trying to grab customers. So we did a couple specials on there. On Monday and Tuesday, we have $20 special. Still, for 2 years, we've had a $20 special. On Monday, we offer a large and 30 boneless wings for $20, which is absurd. I still don't know anyone even close.
Not even close.
And then on Tuesday, we offer a large and 15 wings for $20.
How the hell do you make money at that?
I'm doing that so people have it.
Yeah.
So people have it. And it's like, it's not always it's a business. So it has no
Right.
conscience. It's just always about making money. But for me, it's like, you got to do the right thing sometimes. So I was finding there were a lot of people that were getting priced out for chicken wings. It's like when the market was going crazy, it's like they can't, people would comment, can't afford it.
Yeah.
Hey, it looks great, but can't afford it. It's like, no.
Yeah.
So some of my slower days were Monday and Tuesday, and it was like, let me put something on this day that will get people to come in. And even if they only get pizza once a week, I'll be where they go to get it.
Right.
They come on Monday and get pizza from me, or they come on Tuesday and get pizza from me. So that worked. I made Monday and Tuesday really busy, and it made the rest of the days really busy, because if you have purple cow wings on Tuesday and it's your first time having them,
Right.
you might want purple cow wings again on Friday. So
Yeah.
that's kind of what I did with that.
That does remind me of like Luigi's. Like he talks about it in some of their posts and stuff. But then we were there, like we're sitting in Luigi's having our slices, and like fascinated by Gio sitting right there, and we were like want to walk over and get a picture. But he's making pies, and but anyways, like there's a couple kids from the neighborhood that like run in, and he's like, "Hey, you guys want to give them a slice?" And they take off running. Say hello to your mother. It's like taking care of people in the community is always important.
It's important, and it's the same thing with the customers. You need the food to be good. It's like, I'm confident that our slices are good, our pizza is good, the food that we're putting out is good. So that's all set. As long as I have people to operate and complete the food the way that we're supposed to have it, which I have a great crew right now. Everyone that I have in there is, it's a team atmosphere. Like that's what I'm trying to do all the time, is cultivate that team atmosphere and make people feel a part. You know?
Yeah.
Especially some of the pizza makers I have. I remember I went back to Slice, I was 30. So I remember thinking, it's like, damn, I'm fucking 30. Like, what am I going to do? Like, when I'm 35, what will I do? And I just spent that whole time in the pizzeria and figured out, without any money, figured out how am I going to get a pizzeria? What do I have to do to make this happen? And figured out a way to do it. So the people that I have that I could kind of see myself in, I could see that they would be thinking, what's going to happen for me? You know? And so we were open until 9 o'clock every night, and then we were closed on Sunday. And one of my guys I have, he wants his own pizzeria. He has his master's degree in pizza too. He thinks he's the best too. So he wants his own pizzeria. And I came up with the thought that, like, if I can get him, my thought was, hey, I'll share the profit with you during these times if you're interested. I said, I don't want to, what I have on my plate now with a dishwasher gets the hiccups and calls in, or a counter girl, her, whatever. So I said, I don't want to worry about any of that. So for these hours, you'll be in charge of that, and then I'll split the profit with you. And he was so eager to do it. This was his chance to show what he's worth. And so then he worked every single night from 9 to 12 for a couple months. And then he did Sunday as well. And it was like, so I had other guys there. He was like, I'm stretched too thin.
Yeah.
I said, let me bring some other people on and share that idea with them and show them that this is possible. Like, all right, so if you make X amount of dollars on a Sunday and that's double your hourly salary, that shows you want to be paid based on how hard you're working and how well you're doing. So I gave them that opportunity, and it's worked really well for me. So I'm now able to be open till midnight every night, and on Sunday we're open as well. So I was getting nothing during those times. Right. So to get a little bit of something that during that time is better than nothing, and give them some skin in the game. And now when I'm looking to open the next thing, when we're ready to open the next thing, it's like these guys are chomping at the bit and they want to be part of it. And I want them to be part of it.
Yeah.
It's like these guys have committed to this, to Slice, and I've committed to them, and let's go forward. It's like we have a decent social media following. I think we have almost 20,000 people across all platforms that are following us. And so we can use that brand and, all the buzz that we've created toward the next thing, whether it's a food truck or another location, something like that.
That's cool.
Yeah.
It kind of like I know there's a buddy of mine, John Page in Syracuse. He owns 3 Lives, which is like a arcade bar restaurant. And then he owns, breakfast lunch spot called Pork and Knife. That's just really just like a kind of a takeout almost. They've got a couple seats, but he did that with his second concept. He was like, I'll bring somebody in, I'll give them a share of the profits. He even started a ghost kitchen inside of his first restaurant, and same thing. The guy had a concept. He was like, all right, you'll get a share of the profits to like run it. I've always thought, because there can be such high turnover in restaurants. It's like, don't hire a dishwasher. Don't hire a line cook. Hire somebody who's like a manager in training, and like be like, look, because one thing that I find lacks at so many small restaurants is some sort of a path, like a clear path on here's how you can make more money. Like you want career development. You don't want to be a line cook for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Great. Here's how you can advance and get a raise, get a bonus, whatever the fuck it is. Or here's how you can go from being a line cook to my manager, my general manager.
Right.
And so few of them, have like employee handbooks. So few of them say like, all right, here's your path forward. I worked in sales at Metro for like a decade. and everything from like a sales associate and then, regional director for their Western New York region. And that was something that, like, from early on, every month you sat down, hey, here's what you did. Here's what you need to do if you want to make this much money. Here's what you need to do if you want to get to this position, you know, and restaurants don't have that. I always thought it would be, don't hire a line cook, hire a manager in training.
Yeah.
Bring them through like a year-long process, have them shift roles throughout the year. Like, you've been a line cook, you're going to go learn how to wait tables. You're going to go learn how to, wash it, whatever the fuck it is.
Yeah.
And at the end of the year, if you're still there and you've succeeded at all of our departments, guess what? You're now a manager,
Yeah. For us, it's like I have trouble because each position is so specialized. So the counter girl, she's doing counter girl stuff.
Yeah.
Or, the pizza guy, he does pizza guy stuff. The oven guy does oven guy stuff. So it's kind of hard to get that. It's like, hey, you see that on the ground. Like, even though that's not part of the job description, help me and pick that up,
Yeah.
But I tried a similar thing with them where I had this idea of selling, like, we normally sell foot-long slices. So it was my thought. I said, if we could sell a 15-inch slice, it's significantly bigger. It's basically as big as a small pizza. Let me try that concept at night. So I had all 15-inch slices, regular toppings, specialty toppings, drizzles, add-ons, and stuff like that. And that, I was like, will this work? And it worked. And it was good.
Yeah.
So, kind of went with that and gave them a piece of that. And it's like, now I've brought people in and said to them, we can work out a menu and you could sell those things. It's like the line cook that I have now. He's a great guy and he has ideas. He wants to put his things out there. It's like, all right, let's figure this out. We have a path to do it. We can get there. So I think all those guys see that and they want to work with that going forward.
Yeah. All right. So tell everybody about the shop because it's different. Like, you specialize in slices.
Yeah. Yep. That's our focus. It's like fresh, fast, foot-long slices. That's what we do. We are cranking them out all day. There's times where, you may have to wait 15 minutes for a slice because we're out, but everything's fresh. So as opposed to like the regular slice shop where you walk in, I'll use Fast Track, for example, so I'm not calling anyone out by name. But if you go in and you see that CBR slice sitting there, it's like, how long has that been there? I don't want that. It's like you see that 7 other people had the crispy one. You don't want that. So the way we do it there is you walk in, I have a glass wall with many of the slices that we offer, like specialty slices, and we use plain slices and put the toppings on them there. So they come in, order what they want, we put the toppings on, and then you walk out. They're not baked in toppings. I've had some customers that are like, it's not baked in, but every slice is as fresh as it could be the way that we're doing it like that. And being a foot long, so our most popular slice by far is the purple cow slice. There's blue cheese, and then we have our purple cow chicken on top of that, and classic New York slices. You fold them in half, so when people are eating them, it's kind of like a taco, So $5.50 for a huge slice with blue cheese and over a quarter pound of chicken on it. It's like, this is what we want people to get. This is what we do well. Come in and get this, because when you're busy, there could be times where there's a wait and people get upset. But like, I've tried to educate the customers on like 3 slices. It's our product. Yeah. This is our best product. You could come in, get 3 slices, be in and out. It's more pizza than a small cheese pizza, and you're in and out. Same thing with purple cow wings. They're ready all the time. You could just come in and get them. You don't have to call and wait on the phone or anything like that. So it's like, I've tried to focus that this is what we're doing really well. So try and focus on those things. When my brother originally opened, and even now he has another restaurant in Frankfurt, 1886 Prime. And
where's Frankfurt?
Frankfurt's just down the road from Utica.
Okay.
Yeah, so a little bit further down the road. That's where we're from. So he opened a restaurant there, and his food is phenomenal. Yeah. But it's been my thought that just because the food is good doesn't mean that you should sell that all the time. Yeah. It's like he does tenderloin sandwiches. There's been times at Slice where we have tenderloin sandwiches, and it's the best sandwich. But just because it's the best sandwich doesn't mean that it's right for the business. So I've learned that, like, you got to do what's best for the business. You kind of can't just let it free fall and grow however it is. You need to, figure it out. It's like, all right, this is where we make our bread and butter. These are the things that we need to sell. So
that's pretty interesting. What was the name of his restaurant?
1886 Prime. You have to check him out, and he'd be an awesome guest on your podcast.
Yeah, for sure.
So super interesting.
Yeah. I'm trying to get more out, and I have, like, last year was the first year that I really spent a lot of time outside of Syracuse, And I was everywhere from Buffalo and Rochester and Sackett's Harbor, Utica, New York City, and all that. So I'm trying to get into Rochester more. I guess Utica's is a different market for sure. I mean, I've done some stuff in there. It's where Rick's Famous is now. There was Bag Square. Was it coffee or cafe?
The brewing company? Oh, no, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's in the same space that Rick's Famous is in now, but it was a coffee shop and like little bakery years ago. And they were one of the first people I think they were the first restaurant in Utica to join the card. And at the time on the card, what we had offered, and we still do now, just I don't mention it because I've been doing this for 5 years. Only one restaurant has ever taken me up on this. Is a restaurant, which you guys accept the local card, is a restaurant that's on the card. You get free food photography whenever you want it. So if you need new pictures for your social media, for your website, you can just call me. Hey, can you come in Tuesday? Sure, I'll be down.
Wow.
I'll come down.
That's a great deal.
Yeah, give you free pictures, and then you use them for whatever you want.
What's the catch?
There isn't one.
You just come and take pictures.
That was the whole point of Eat Local. It was like, that's why I don't charge restaurants to join the card either, because it's like, the whole point is I need to be able to like get people into the restaurant,
Sounds like a good deal. I'll take it.
Yeah, for sure.
I'll take it.
Let me know when.
Yeah, and then I'll give you all the food. You take that afterwards.
Yeah. Actually, I hate doing that.
Really?
Yeah.
You don't like taking it?
Well, it's just like, but by the time that like I get home,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And then it's like, so I just hate doing that. There's a Baldwinsville, New York. They do a dining weeks, like 16 restaurants participate. Mm-hmm. And I volunteer my time for them to like go out and help them promote it. And so I do the photo shoots, and I'll do like 5 restaurants a day. And they're all like, here, take these 4 dishes home. I'm like, guys, it's going in my trash can.
Yeah.
Like by the time I get home, it's been in my car for 5 hours.
Right, yeah.
No one wants to eat that. So I was out at this restaurant in Utica. I'm taking pictures, and there's this group of old guys in like the little seating area over there. It's kind of weird in that little lobby, but they're sitting over there, and they're loud as they can be. The one guy's just talking about like cocaine and strippers and all this. And the guy looks like he could be my grandfather, right? And I'm just like, who the fuck are these old guys? What the hell are they talking about? Yeah. And I asked the owner at the time, and she was like, that's the mob. I was like, what are you talking about? She's like, she's like, those guys are part of the Utica mob. I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? The Utica mob.
Yeah.
She's like, there's like a presence of the mafia in Utica still. I was like, no, there's not. It's like if there's not in Syracuse, which I'm sure there is, and actually I know there is a little bit still, but I was like, it's not in Utica. She's like, well, it is, and that's part of them.
Yeah, they're there. We don't talk about it like that, but they're there. Yeah, sure. We have friends and connections and stuff, so that's
for
kind
sure.
of being part of Utica.
Yeah, my dad grew up in Syracuse and he went to school for hospitality and hotel management and to college, and then moved back, and he had a diner here in Syracuse in like 75, I think, 75, 76. And he's still in food today. He works for a local food wholesaler here in Syracuse. Nice. And so, I didn't grow up like super sheltered, but, grew up in a Christian home and all that kind of stuff. So I'm 37. I experienced cocaine, not that I partook of it, but I was like hanging out with the group of restaurant owners one night, and one of them, we were at this festival. One of them walks away, comes back. They're like, oh, let's go over here to the pier. All of a sudden, they're doing bumps. I'm like, what the fuck are you guys doing? And so the next day, I called my dad. I'm like, you're never going to believe what happened last night. And he's like, that's the restaurant industry, son.
It's just part of it. It's hard to separate those two things. I mean, it's just so grueling sometimes. So, you need to find, usually it's like you either medicate and figure it out, or you're just miserable. Yeah. And so those are the options. It's like, especially line cooks, no offense to the one I had, but they're just not the happiest set of people. So then they try and figure it out however they can.
Yeah, for sure.
Just not at work. Whatever you got going on after, just figure it out after.
Yeah. I mean, some of the stories are just absolutely wild out there.
Yeah.
How do you stay motivated? Because you seem like you've got a head on your shoulders, where it's not just like, hey, I want to make great pizza or produce great food or bring these guys in and give it a share of the profits, but you also seem like you've got the head on your shoulders to be like, hey, I want to grow this thing and make money and build something here. So how do you balance that? Because there are examples out there in like Central New York about that, Utica, I'm sure, but there's not many.
Yeah.
There's not a ton of them.
I have a daughter and have a family, and my girl, it's the same way. It's like I want to have things set for them. So I'm trying to get better all the time and grow the business all the time. I try and keep my blinders on. I'm not really looking at what the other pizzerias are doing around me. It's like they stay in their lane, they do their thing. That has nothing to do with me. So I just focus on what I can control for myself. So I've tried to grow the business in a couple different ways, and I still have things planning go ahead. I'm trying to just recently, for example, I contracted this company to automate my bookkeeping. So every day, so the time that I was spending, it's hard. It's like pizzeria owners don't know how to, there's no course to take beforehand. It's just you kind of learn it as you go. So I try and contract out to people that know what they're doing. It's like, if these people know what they're doing, let me copy what they're doing. And there's this company called Bench. I'm not a paid sponsor for that, but there's a company called Bench, and they're managing my book work now. I get monthly profit loss statements, and they control everything. So it's like I try and use what I can to maintain appropriate work-life balance, because still every day I want to be home with my daughter when she wakes up from a nap. I want to be with my girl having dinner, and it's hard to, because if you talk to these old school pizzeria guys, a lot of them make pizza still. They're standing there making pizza still, and that's what they want to do, and that's how you need to work every day and grind like that. And it's like, well, that's what you do. It's like I'm on a different path than that. I want to, I want different things than they want, just because it's like that old school generation. And sometimes my father will say it to me. It's like there was a ton of flour to be moved from one place to another, and my father's like, because I still have my father there with me daily. He is still baking cheesecakes, and he's awesome to be around. And I am the man I am because of him, but he breaks my balls sometimes. So there's something on the ground. He's like, carry that over there. And I'm like, no. I said, like, I'm not, I pay people to carry that. And it's like, I don't have anything to prove. Like, don't get me wrong. I'll jump in and make pizzas, or I'll do whatever's necessary. I still, will mop the floors or whatever, but he thinks, this is how you're successful. This is what you need to do every day. And it's like, what I need to do every day is show up and make sure my daughter's okay, and make sure everything else is working. So that's kind of what I do.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. That's good. I made the mistake. Our son, my wife and I have got Anthony is 15 months old, or will be tomorrow. And I made the mistake of, with our restaurant, I've been partner in 3-1 Fried, and which is sort of like a ghost kitchen in Cicero, and we were inside Limp Lizard Barbecue because they're the partners in the restaurant. So last October, I think it was, the cook for Limp Lizard, who was also cooking for 3-1 Fried, left. And so the three of us sat down. We're like, all right, what are we going to do? And I was like, I'll do it. I'll step in. I'll run the restaurant. I used to do barbecue when I lived in Texas. I was around it. I love barbecue. Like, it sounds like a blast. Well, it kicked off in January. Our son was born in November. So my wife is like at home finishing, like wrapping up. She's got like a couple more weeks of like maternity leave. We've got a newborn at home, and I'm like, hey, I'm going to go run this restaurant now. Right. And because it paid really well. And by the way, it's barbecue. So I'm going to be up there at like 4 or 5 in the morning sometimes. Yeah. I'm going to be there sometimes until midnight, and I'll squeeze home for an hour or two in between. And dumbest fucking thing I've ever done in my life. Maybe not. Yeah, that was probably the dumbest thing I've ever done. And I only did it for 2 months, and I was like, I can't. Then I got COVID, and I had COVID, and I still had to go up and do something. And I was like, I can't. Yeah, I can't do this. Yeah. And looking, like 6 months later, my wife was like, yeah, remember when you did that? Like, that was really bad. Yeah,
it makes it difficult. It's like, especially because it's like my main thing that I'm doing is being a father and husband. Yeah, it's like this is what's most important to me, and then everything else can follow after that. So it's like I've watched your podcast and see it's like people are struggling to figure that out, to manage. You're managing the business, you're making sure that the food's good, and then you have your life. It's like, so you need to mix all that together to be able to feel happy every day. I mean, I love my daughter, I love my job, I love everything about it, but I'm still tired in the morning. It's still difficult. There's no one, you can't call in, there's no one coming in for you. It's like you have to figure it out yourself.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I've tried a lot over the past 6, like maybe 5 months, unintentionally, but Now it's sort of intentional. At first I was like, man, you're being lazy. But then I was like, yeah, I'm happier. I'm healthier. I'm not up until midnight. Typically for the last few years, I'd be up at like 6 a.m. working immediately on my phone or my computer, editing a video or posting something for somebody or working on something up until midnight, editing videos, doing all that. And then over the past like 2 months, I've really been intentional of just like, I'm not doing that. Like I've had a few people reach out really, and so like a big part of the business that makes money is managing social media for clients, for restaurants. And that's a fucking grind, you know? I mean, to like be in charge of, I've got 10 clients, to be in charge of each of their Facebook and Instagrams and making sure that like comments are responded to, reviews and all
That's
that kind
tough.
of shit.
I don't know how you do that. Yeah,
It's
that's
a lot.
tough. Yeah, that's heavy.
I really enjoy it, but it is a grind. And so, and I'm trying, what I'm doing right now, and I've been like I shouldn't say perfecting. I've been getting a hell of a lot better at like flash photography and just getting much better at video making and food photography, to switch it to, you run your social media, I'll provide the content. You know,
Yeah.
I'll come in once a month. You'll get 30 pictures and videos. You can post them. I'll come back next month and do it again. And because it's so much less stress than 10 o'clock at night. Oh shit, this customer just left a 1-star review because of the dumbest thing in the world. Now I've got to call the client at home and wake the, whatever.
Yeah.
And so for the last like 2 months, I'm like, you know what? I'm playing video games for like 30 minutes a day
important.
at least.
It's important. Yeah.
You know,
like you have your own business.
Right.
You know, you should be able to get some of the perks at least. It's like, I have the same thing. It's like, I have an office upstairs, and sometimes it's like, no further questions. I won't respond to people that are shouting over from me from the balcony to answer questions. That's like, I just need a minute to just focus on myself.
Yeah.
That's super important.
Yeah. So it has been interesting with that, like trying to, it's like, listen, the dream is still there, to do whatever and hit whatever, goals I want to. But at the end of the day, it's like, I'm not going to do it if I stay up, if I squeak out 1 fewer hour of sleep tonight,
Right.
It's not going to make me the success I want to be tomorrow, you know? And I don't think that journey is worth it.
Sure.
It's definitely not.
You're the one in charge of that. You decide what's worth it and what's not worth it.
Right.
But that interests me. So you'll offer 30. How does it work? Tell me more about. You'll come in and get the content and then send it to. I'm interviewing you.
Oh, okay, yeah, So I've got one client that's doing it now. The Fair Deli in here in Lakeland, which is family business, and mom, dad, and son Zach's. I mean, they do definitely, like Zach, the son, who's in his mid-20s, late 20s, I think. Zach will look at like Devour Power, like an Instagrammer out of New York City, and see what they're posting to like get ideas for his stuff around here. And there's not many people in Syracuse that do that really give a shit. Most menus you go around and it's like chicken bacon ranch, buffalo chicken, chicken bacon.
Yeah.
So Zach is like, listen, I'm creative. I want to do the posting still and come up with the specials and that kind of stuff. I just need somebody who knows what they're doing to take pictures. So Zach was kind of the first person I did it with. And where he pays what I think is not a lot of money, and once or twice a month I'll text him, hey, what day? Go in. He's got his stuff set. We'll go in there, and I was just there yesterday. We'll go in there, take 30 pictures, create some videos for him, short form videos, edit them, put them in a Google Drive, and then he posts them and does whatever he wants with them. Versus me going in there and the owner giving me their login information. Right. And then now all of a sudden I'm in charge of figuring out their brand, tone and voice and how to respond and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. There's just so many, the one thing I've learned I've been doing this 8 years now. One thing I've learned is restaurant owners don't know what the fuck they're doing in a lot of areas. I mean, none of us, I don't even know what the fuck I'm doing. But they didn't go to, it's not like they all had the prereq that they had to go to school for, like, get their master's in business and marketing and HR and all this stuff. Yeah. Like, they show up and they might have different skill sets. Most of them it's food. And then that's kind of where it starts and stops. There's exceptions for that, sure. But most of them, it's like, I sit down, it's like, all right, where's your logo? Well, it's on my Facebook. You can't just put, no, I need the file,
vendor, yeah.
What font do you use? what?
Yeah.
You know, like what's your where's your color palette? What are you talking about? You know, I'm like, well, listen, if I'm going to create this graphic, people need to know it's coming from your restaurant, right?
yeah.
So we need to follow these sort of guidelines, right? Like,
Yeah.
you know, it's like, all right, what are your goals this year? What do you like? How much? You know, what do you want to sell? How many pizzas do you want to sell this year?
Yeah.
What are you talking about? You know, it's
Yeah, you got to know your numbers. It's hard. Like you said, there's no course on it. So
Right.
you're just learning as you go. It's like, all right, well, what do I do to be profitable? Where can I change things? Where can I adjust things? So
Yeah.
that's what I've been trying to figure out as I go along to get another percentage point here or there. It's like, that makes a big difference over the course of the year. So
Hell yeah.
yeah, that's really what I've been focused on.
Yeah. I've got this kind of like, I think a lot of guys do, I'm assuming. It's just like the savior complex, you know, it's the same thing like when we're dealing with women. It's like, you know, oh, I want to be, you know, Prince Charming or whatever, right? I feel that way towards like restaurant owners where it's like, you know, I'm not your marketing director. Like if you hire, like people, they hire me or they have hired me, it's like, I'm your social media manager.
Yeah.
You know, but I go in there and it's like, oh, we're not doing great. The social media manager in like a big, in the perfect world shouldn't be the person that's like, all right, how am I going to get them 10% more, you know, next month, you know, but unfortunately it's like, that's kind of what I have to, you know, it's like I was telling you that client before you came in, I'm like on the phone, don't waste your money with this, you know?
Yeah.
As a social media manager, I shouldn't be doing that. But, you know, the reality is we're working with like small independent restaurant owners who don't know, don't have the answers. And there's, you know, so, you know, unfortunately it's like, you know, hey, how's it going? I'm here to take pictures and, you know, oh, not good. All right, well, here's what we could do, you know? And, and so that's been, I'm trying to, you know, I've been trying to like wean myself off of, I'm not responsible for I am to a certain degree, but I'm not the sole person that's responsible for making sure their restaurant succeeds.
No, and you'll have to overcome some of the issues that they have at
Right.
that point. You know, I try and stay in charge of all of that myself. You know, it's hard to be HR, to be marketing, and then everything that comes after marketing,
Right.
to be sales and advertising and all those different things. It's tough to know when's the right time to post. You know, can I use this picture again? I used this picture before. I used this last week. Can I use it again? It's like
Right.
you need new, fresh content to grab people's eyes and get them in the place. And then once you do that, it needs to be a perfect experience that they come in.
Right.
The food needs to meet the service, needs to meet the timing and everything like that. And it's a tough dance to figure out. You know, we've been open for 10 years now. So
That's wild.
it's nuts to be open that long. It's like, you know, all right, well, we've accomplished this. Like, let's continue to go forward and try and grow the brand. I was just watching yesterday the podcast that you did with the Peels on Wheels guy.
Oh, Luis, he's awesome.
And in my mind, I've had the idea of creating a membership.
Oh, that's cool.
You know, so I had thought, it's like, you know, because we have, you know, the Monday special, the Tuesday special, or we have like lunch specials, and people will come in on Tuesday for the Monday special, or come in later in the day for the lunch special. And it's like, we have to tell them no. And it's like so awful to tell them no. So like, it was my thought. It's like, can we offer a membership? Can we do something like that? So to hear him doing that, selling a discount like that, it's like, I need to talk to this guy.
I know.
You know, to have his mind be in the same place, it's like, and I've said this before because I'm friends with some local restaurant owners in the Utica area, and we'll see each other. There's a place in town, Cash and Carry, where you can go, if you miss something on your order, you can go and pick up there. And I'll see them in there, and we'll bullshit a little bit, and they'll tell me about their struggles, and it's like, we need a restaurant support group. We need to all go and sit down together and drink and talk about all the struggles that we have, because it's, you know, we're all dealing with similar problems. It's tough. You know, it's a tough industry to have everything be critiqued like that, and everyone on top of you, and everyone, you know, they're expecting every single time to be. We're trying our best. We're trying our best, and to have every single time be perfect. It's like, you know, I've had reviews left where it's like, I came and we've been coming for 2 years. It's been great, but Saturday they forgot our pepperoni, and you know, I can't believe they did this to us.
I've run into like accounts and restaurants sometimes around the country where like they get reviews like that, and they're just like, hey, fuck you. Like, this is their response. Fuck you. You've been coming for 2 years. We forgot one thing. Really? This is what you're going to do?
You can't say that.
Right.
You want to say it, though. You own the business. You want to be able to say what you want to say, you know?
Yeah.
But you can't.
I don't know, well, I don't know. The area definitely plays a role. Like one of the dudes is in Vegas, and he's, you know, and his videos are like all of his videos pretty much start out with "fuck you, I'm the best, go fuck yourself."
Yeah.
Come into my restaurant and get today's special, you know. And like he's obviously created the persona around that for sure. But yeah, that kind of stuff is super annoying. And so, but you know, but there is a balance of like trying to figure out, all right, when's the time that you stand up for yourself?
Right.
You know, we were talking like the Where Syracuse Eats group earlier. We had this guy come into the restaurant back when we first opened. Huge dude, like 6'6", 350 pounds, massive beard, always wearing sweatpants. He just like looks intimidating, right?
Yeah.
And he came in. He came in at some point. I don't even remember the first time he came in, but he went on Where Syracuse Eats and left this terrible review. And you know, it's fried chicken sandwiches and tater tots. That's all we did. And so, and it's in a takeout container. And I spent like 2 months researching takeout containers before and running tests and posting those videos on our TikTok page of like, this one held up, this didn't. So long story short, guy gets the food home, takes a picture. It looks soggy. It had been it turned out to have been in the takeout container for like an hour before he opened it. Yeah. And he complains. And it's like, well, no shit, you know, like, and so part of me wants to respond and be like, you're the idiot that left a fried chicken sandwich in your takeout container for an hour. Eat it.
Yeah.
And so, but instead I was like, we're so sorry, come in. And so, I was like, next meal's free on the house. So sorry, we'll take care of you. Great response from like all the other commenters. Oh, it's so great to see an owner taking responsibility and doing this. Yeah. So the guy comes back in like the next day. He like sends me a DM. He's like, hey, if it's cool, we'll come in tomorrow. We'll get dinner Friday night. It's like, sure. He sets the time at like, it's like 2 p.m. Picks the food up at 2. At like 6:30 in the evening, post a review onto the same Facebook group that says, my wife and I just ate our sandwiches and they were wonderful. Great job from 3-1 Fried and the owner for taking care of us. I'm like, you let them sit for 4.5 hours? Like,
really? Yeah.
So, but whatever. 2 weeks later, that same guy comes in. I'm sitting in the dining room. The guy comes in, gets his food, goes over to grab a bottle of Pepsi out of the fridge and goes, and he's like, oh, I forgot a Pepsi. Goes and pays for it. And they're $3, right, for a bottle. And so, and the girl says, you know, it's 3, whatever. And he's like, what? Starts yelling in the dining room. You charging me $3 for a goddamn bottle of Pepsi? Like, what is wrong with you? This is highway robbery. Like screaming. And I'm like staring at him, and he like, this all happens in like 30 seconds, and then he leaves. He goes on the same Facebook group. This restaurant charged me $3. And so now our counter girl, it was like 5'2", 90 pounds soaking wet. She's like shaking because this dude, and so I like went after him in that one. I was like, listen, you're a giant. You're like fucking towering over our 17-year-old, like 90-pound counter girl screaming at her.
Who's trying her best.
Right. I was like, listen, thank you for your business. Don't ever come back. I said this I was like, don't ever come back in the restaurant again.
Good.
And then people just started shitting on me from that.
Yeah, no. I mean, you can't put too much stock in what's happening in Facebook. You know, for the most part, it's like I try and not look at it. If I get a good review, great. If there's people, you know, just recently I had someone left a great review. Hey, the slices and purple cow wings were great, and then someone jumps on the review and is like, you know, I don't understand the hype about purple cow wings. They taste like grease. They taste like nothing to me. And it's like, no. Yeah. You know, so I try and stand my ground as much as I can, where it's like, hey, 99% of people like them, but you may be that 1%. Right. And you don't like them, but try them again. Come in, try them again on us. You know, and then we'll see how that goes. I don't know. He hasn't responded yet, but we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. Well, we're approaching an hour. I don't want to keep you too much longer, but I need to have you back in because I want to talk all about pizza at some point. Yes. Because I've been getting into it at home for like the past couple months. Yeah. So we'll tell everybody where you are and where they can find you.
2007 Genesee Street, right across the street from the Uptown Theater. Great little neighborhood in South Utica. And like I said, we're open every day from 11, a lot of times till midnight. And then on Sunday, we're open for football. So get your Super Bowl orders in now. Yeah, it's good to pre-order.
Yeah. Well, thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure.